What's up guys, Bryce here, and we're back at it again for another video. And as you can see here, we're at Brands Hatch and it is raining this time around. This is round 2 of the PCA Sim Racing League in the pro class. So this is qualifying. We're just going to jump right into this. It's wet at Brands Hatch, super tricky conditions, light rain, but a track like this in the Porsche Cup in the rain is basically impossible. Impossible to find grip anywhere on the track, but we did qualify P3. But we'll just walk you through the qualifying lap here. There's water absolutely everywhere. The curbs are pretty deadly. Going through the left-hander into the forest, you're braking offline, and all of these corners, you're just squaring them off as much as you can. The back section here in the forest is sketchy to say the least. Really the goal for this race was to just bring points home. I knew I didn't have the best pace around here, just because actually this is my first ever rain race in iRacing. I've practiced in the rain, I've done lots of laps in the rain, but first ever rain race, and doing it in a league with super competitive drivers was extremely tricky, but just did the best I could. And you can see the car is just sliding all over the place. Yeah, it's amazing how good the rain is in iRacing. I haven't, of course, driven a Porsche Cup car in real life at Brands Hatch in the rain with these conditions, but I have played a variety of different sims, and most of them, such as Assetto Corsa or the F1 Codemasters games, you just drive the normal line, but you just drive it slower and you just be much smoother. Whereas in iRacing, you are just searching for the grip wherever it's available. The dry line is not always the fastest line. You kind of have to look for the lighter patches of track to find, where the fastest line is. There's so many different ways to take the corners, and that's what makes it fun, challenging. And it's honestly fun. I find it, I don't want to say more fun than the dry. The dry is always fun because it's faster, but the wet does add that just extra bit of just precision and kind of car control that's needed. But qualified P3, but let's go ahead and jump to the race. Again, P3, we have a crazy amount of cars. Really the goal at the start, first ever rain start, it was pretty intense in the sense of that didn't really know what was going to happen, didn't know if there was going to be a massive crash or not. So goal is to just keep it on the track. So here we go. Light is about to go green. We're trying to stay as close as we can. Jesse Lines was on pole. P1 and P2 polisecond lines were just so quick, and I had to try to make a move at the start, but just couldn't. So I played it pretty safe at the start. You can see they're going side by side. A little bit of contact there with P4. Going into turn 2, someone goes wide there. We make it out pretty good, and from this point forward, it's really just about staying with the cars in front. And you can just see there is just no grip whatsoever, and that's the common theme throughout this race, just trying to find the grip. And especially when you're inside the car, you just cannot see a single thing. When you're in the spray, it is super difficult to see. As you can see here, a lot of rain. So yeah, not an easy race to drive and be quick. The pace wasn't as fast as I wanted it to be. I think I had pretty good one-lap pace, but over the course of the race, I just couldn't keep up with P1 and P2. Going through the right again. You can use the curb on the inside, but again, you just have to be so careful because the track is just really slippery. Through this left-hander here, you kind of want to be mid-track. Felt like for me, I'd gain a lot of time in the last sector on the lap. This corner here, I was taking a different line than the cars in front. I think I could have optimized that corner a bit better. I was sort of trying to square it off a bit more, where it seems like they were just going through it with a bit more of the dry line. And you can just see the amount of spray and just how wet the track is. It's light rain, but it's been, at least in the forecast in iRacing, it was basically raining throughout the duration of the day, so the track was pretty damp. And towards the end of the stint, and towards the end of the second stint as well, you can see we almost have a look down the inside there. It did start to dry out a little bit, which made things a little bit tricky with the setup that I was running. But yeah, as you can see, just every lap you're trying something different. On that lap there, you're taking a different line. Lots of spray, and yeah, just trying everything we can to stay with the top two. So we're about 8 minutes into the race, and this is going to be the first little exploration of the track here. Went into turn one a little bit too hot, and ended up running out on the gravel there. Fortunately, didn't cost me much, but just carried a little bit too much speed. Yeah, really lucky to have escaped that one, but just got on power a little bit too much, and then once you go into that puddle, right at the exit of the corner, you just immediately aquaplane and no grip at all. So we were lucky to escape that one, but that really made the gap behind shrink a lot, and then now we're basically defending from behind. And yeah, like I said, now the gap in front opened up quite a bit and just made it difficult to, bring this, what is now maybe a 4 or 5 second gap down. So about 10 minutes left in the race, we made our first pit stop. Nothing really happened throughout the race. It was quite a boring race for the most part, but you can see the exit coming back onto the pits. We almost lost the position to P3. Jesse Lines ended up spinning out in, I believe it was turn 6. So we were able to move up into P2 for the race. But first pit stop we were extremely close because I was doing a bit of fuel saving, and I put just the right amount of fuel in the car. Any more or less, we would have lost the spot to P3 behind. But you can see the track is a little bit drier than before. We were about 50 minutes into the race, and again, pretty boring race. Can't really comment on much that happened. Wasn't any passes, overtakes, had a bit of pressure from behind. But you can see the track is pretty dry. There almost is a dry line. There's wet patches pretty much everywhere, but you can see a little bit of a dry line forming. And the dry line is a little bit quicker than the wet line. I know some drivers were thinking about going onto dry tires. Definitely wasn't there yet. But it was pretty spotty rain, which again makes rain and iRacing pretty awesome. It's just the fact that you just never know what's going to happen. It's super realistic. Definitely the best that I've seen in any of the sims. But yeah, I was pretty lucky to get away with that pit stop. Thought I was going to lose P3, but I knew that at the moment I did underfuel maybe by 0.5 liters, half a liter maybe. So I had to do a little bit of fuel saving towards the end of the race to actually not run out of fuel at the end. So coming up to the last lap of the race, and as you can see, we have quite a decent amount of cars behind us trying to take this P2 spot. So pretty intense last lap, but fortunately we were able to keep the P2 spot. But at this point in the race, the tires were starting to get a bit cooked. But again, passing in the wet in the Porsche Cup is also a whole different ball game. But we're able to keep it in front for the most part. You can see it has a little look down the inside. Turn 2 became more of a dry line corner. And this corner is super weird. Turn 3, you kind of have to stay in the middle of the track. Turn 4 is probably the most tricky corner I've had throughout the race. You can see the car is just sliding all over the place. But yeah, pretty boring race. Not much to comment about it. But after this result, this does put us P2 in the championship with 5 points behind Polisek, and I think we're tied with 2 other drivers. So the next race is Donington Park National in the wet again. So it's gonna be a fun one. Definitely one of my stronger tracks, Donington Park, rather than Brands Hatch. So maybe we can look forward to something a bit more excited This championship is shaping up to be really, really tight because it's the top three or four drivers are just, we're all kind of in the same speed or pace. And then you have some who are just extremely quick and much faster than all of us. But that is going to be it for this video. Wish there was a bit more action, but hopefully we can have some more fun races, kind of just a race where we just bring home points and survive, which is what we did. Had a few scary moments out there, but we will be looking forward to Donington in 2 weeks' time. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, leave a like down below, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.